Hi folks, Mohit here from Kutumb. We recently crossed milestone of 1 million daily active user on our app. I'm here to discuss a brief about the journey and discuss one major system which evolved through our journey to 1 million daily active users. Let's start from what is Kutumb. Kutumb is a private social network for communities. Let me explain what do I mean by that. Communities of size from 100 to millions of users can exist on Kutumb. In Kutumb, a single community acts as a full-fledged social network in its own, where users can browse content, connect, communicate, and explore other users in the community. We are trying to empower admins to host and manage their communities in the easiest way possible. Before us, these admins were managing thousands of WhatsApp groups to get a feeling of what community feels like, which Kutum solves beautifully for them. Currently, from a community of teachers associations, employee union, alumni groups, Bharti Kisan Union, matrimony groups, Manrega employees, all kinds and types of communities exist on Kutum. What we strongly believe in, can building or being part of a community should become as easy as it can possibly get. Geography, language, and tools be no bar for that. Now coming to currently where we are. Currently, as stated previously, we recently reached the milestone of 1 million plus daily active users. And yes, we did it in less than a year with less than 500k spent on marketing. With the current scale of users, our external load balancer handles 150 million plus requests per day with a P99 latency of less than 300 milliseconds, which we aim to reduce to less than 100 milliseconds by this year. And yes, we are able to do this with a small and stellar team of 7 engineers. A brief about our infrastructure. Currently, we are running a 60 plus node self-hosted K8s cluster on AWS, which is auto scaling on mix of spot and on-demand strategy using KOps and horizontal pod scaling for deployment on K8s. We started on day one with a monolith designed in a way that the things were decoupled as much as possible. Over the period of time, which has evolved into a mix of modular monolith and microservices, which we plan to turn into a complete microservices architecture by the end of first half of this year. Currently, Kutumb is built on top of AWS, K8s, MySQL, Redis, MongoDB, Elasticsearch, Argo, GitHub Actions, Cassandra, Prometheus, Grafana, Loki, and a lot more. Now coming to the point which I have come to discuss today, notifications at scale. Let's start with why as Kutumb notifications are important for us. For any social media platform, having the best triggers to open the app is really important to keep the user engaged and retained over the period of time. Ensuring these best triggers or notifications reach the users always in a reliable and timely manner is what we are trying to achieve. What types of notifications currently exist in Kutumb? Mainly two, and we term them as transactional and system generated notifications. Transactional notifications, which translates to X user liked your post, Y user commented on your post, user A did B activity. And then system generated notifications, commonly community notifications, example recommendation of a trending post to the community. Talking about scale, we are currently delivering 100 million plus notifications per day and deliver up to 5 million notifications in span of a minute. Let's start from where we started. Day one of notifications at Kutumb, around 1000 daily active users. Keeping things as simple as possible, we started sending notifications in a synchronous way. When an action was performed, we used to send a direct notification to the user in the same API call. As things started scaling a bit, we started seeing multiple problems with this approach. First, it just doesn't scale. Second, it creates a direct dependency with user-facing API calls. Third, no separate auto-scaling on sending notifications. Fourth, 1:n notification performance issues. What do I mean by 1:n? 1:n notifications are notifications triggered to end users by a single action, like a user posted a content and is for all followers getting notifications. As soon as we realized that the current system wouldn't work for us, we improved it to notifications V2. It was around 100k daily active users, then the system came into the place. What the system mainly revolved around was having event-based approach. So we introduced asynchronous queue. Overall view of the notifications V2 architecture looks like this. FCM token flow currently is client-side FCM token request to API, which starts with load balancer, forwarding request to application instances and devices, being saved to DB accordingly with method data like what OEM devices, which Android version is it running on, what is our app version on the device, and relevant details for us to target and ensure better delivery of notifications. So now when a user performs any action, application instances pushes an event into the SQS queue, and we have a worker service which consumes all the event in real time. Flow for worker service is it consumes event from SQS, makes payload decision like would the notification have sound on, would it override any previous notification, should it contain profile image or a post image, or which image should it contain even. Then gets the relevant user tokens from the DB, which is MySQL, and sends the request to FCM server, which delivers the notification on the device, which sums up our approach we took at 100k daily active users. This approach solved quite a lot of our initial problems, completely removed direct dependency from user-facing API calls. Worker service, which consumes event from SQS queue, has independent auto-scaling enabled based on queue size. So at peak hours, if queue has a lot of events to process, it spins up more workers to send notifications in real time. 1:1 notification performances saw significant improvement as it was processed as a separate event. Life seemed quite good, but then now we could see more problems with our growing scale. What were those? Again, this doesn't scale at peak hours, mainly because database becomes a bottleneck. Fetching and updating FCM tokens at peak load was having high latencies in real-time notifications. At this time, introduction of global system-generated notifications took place, and differentiating between system-generated and user-generated notifications in processing became difficult, which led to issues like not being able to prioritize one notification over another. Segregation of business logic from final push send was not present, which put a lot of responsibility on the worker service, which violated single responsibility principle. As notification were becoming a major part of our technology, it led us to rethink and rebuild parts of our notification system to support the coming needs. Notification consisted of two major parts: token management, delivery management. For token management, what we did is to handle writes better at peak load, introduced queue in addition and deletion of tokens. For easy read accessibility, cached their access primary resource for tokens now. For delivery management, what we did is to separate business logic from final push send logic, which enabled us to build priority based on notification type, alerting based on sent matrices, throttling logic based on user community and number of notifications sent to the user in X time frame, an hour or a day. FCM token management system looks something like this. Client devices pushes the FCM request to the load balancer. Load balancer sends it to application instances. Application instances pushes the messages in the queue. Queue is being consumed by token manager. Token manager pushes the FCM token in the cache as well as DB in a write through cache policy. This ensures at peak loads we don't have write throughput issues, as well as at peak loads we don't have high latencies in reads. Now coming to notifications B3 architecture, client performs an action and application instance pushes a message into the user generated notif queue. This user generated notif queue is being consumed by worker instances. Worker instance fetches the token from token manager, builds the final payload depending on what image needs to be sent, what is it a sound on notification, or does the notification need to be overridden. After deciding the final payload, it sends an event to fan out push queue. This queue is being consumed by fan out push service. Fan out push service is not concerned with what constraints the payload has. It is just concerned to send a final push notification to the token with the assigned payload. Then the second part of system-related notification comes into the place. This is being managed by Argo workflow. Argo workflow not triggers on system notifications, which sends into a queue which has a business logic of selecting a trending post or selecting which introduction to do to a new user. This business logic also creates a payload and fetches a token from token manager and pushes into a final push queue. Final push queue again is being consumed by fan out push service, and it sends a notification accordingly. All the queues are being run on HPA autoscaler on SQS queue length. For all the queues, as the queue length increases, it would have more pods which are running the services. Currently, this notification system V3 smoothly handles current scale of 100 million plus notifications per day. The future prospects of the system looks like we have to start using FCM topic based push notification, which would solve our 1:N notification problem in a better way. Another thing which we want to try out is start using FCM V1 system, as well as we want to build to support 1 million plus notifications per day. And what we plan to do as well is to open source the current system so that other people try to go through the system, improve our system, as well as implement of their own. One final sentence which I want to add is scope has always been limitless, change is constant, and so is optimizations. Thank you. This concludes my session. Hope you're able to take some valuable inputs from it. For any doubts and suggestions, feel free to reach out to me at mohit@kutumb.com. And yes, we are hiring at Kutumb.